Hey everybody, welcome to the show. We're so excited to have you here with us today. Whether you're tuning in from your couch, your office, or even on the go, we promise to bring you a mix of laughter, empathy, and a whole lot of oh no moments. Hope you're having a fantastic day. 'Cause today we're diving headfirst into the world of could be worse. You know those moments that make you stop and think, well, at least it's not me. We're here to remind you that no matter how bad your day might seem, there's always someone out there having a worse one. You know those days, right? The ones where you spill your coffee and think, well, it can't get any worse than this. But then, as if the universe is listening, it decides to throw another curveball your way. Maybe your computer crashes, or you miss an important meeting. It's like a domino effect of minor disasters. But then, life laughs and says, hold my beer. Suddenly your spilled coffee seems like a minor inconvenience compared to the chaos that ensues. Maybe you accidentally send an embarrassing email to your boss, or you lock yourself out of your house. It's these moments that make you realize just how unpredictable life can be. You probably didn't drown your car today, or wake up to a tree falling on your house, but for the heroes of this collection, the day brought even more surprises. Imagine starting your day with a flat tire, only to find out that your phone is dead and you left your wallet at home, or coming home to discover that your pet decided to redecorate your living room with the contents of your trash can. So buckle up, grab your lucky rabbit's foot, and get ready to laugh at the misfortune of others. Because hey, at least it's not happening to us, right? We're about to take you on a roller coaster ride of epic fails, unexpected mishaps, and moments that will make you grateful for your own relatively uneventful day. So sit back, relax, and let's dive into the world of worst days together. Picture this, you're cruising along, windows down, maybe singing along to your favorite jam. The sun is shining, the breeze is perfect, and everything feels just right. You're in your own little world, the road stretching out before you like a ribbon of freedom. The worries of the day are melting away with every mile you cover. It's one of those moments where you feel completely at peace, like nothing could possibly go wrong. Life is good. Then bam! You accidentally drove into a lake. Well, maybe not a lake, but it sure feels like it. One moment you're gliding along and the next, you're plowing through a massive puddle that seems to have appeared out of nowhere. The water splashes up, and for a split second, you're in disbelief. Did that really just happen? Your heart skips a beat as you realize the gravity of the situation. Okay, maybe not a lake, but definitely a very large puddle. The kind that makes you wonder if you should have brought a canoe instead of a car. Your tires are now more like paddles, struggling to find traction. The car lurches and groans, and you can feel the water seeping in. Panic starts to set in as you realize you might be stuck here for a while. And suddenly you're not singing anymore. You're doing your best impression of a submarine captain. The water is rising and you're frantically trying to figure out what to do next. Your mind races through a checklist of emergency procedures, but nothing seems to fit this bizarre scenario. You're half expecting to hear sonar pings and see a periscope pop up. Except, without the cool hat and the periscope. Instead, you're just a very wet, very frustrated driver. Your car, once your trusty steed, now feels more like a sinking ship. You can't help but laugh at the absurdity of it all, even as you're trying to figure out how to get out of this mess. Our first contestant in the Worst Day Ever Olympics definitely got a car wash they weren't expecting. The tow truck arrives and you watch as your car is pulled from its watery grave. It's covered in mud and water, a sad sight for any car lover. Onlookers gather, some offering sympathetic looks, others snapping photos for social media. You can't help but feel like the star of a very unfortunate reality show, and probably a stern talking to from their insurance agent. You know the call is coming and you brace yourself for the inevitable lecture. As you explain the situation, you can almost hear the agent's eyes rolling. It's going to be a long conversation, but at least you'll have a story to tell. One that starts with a perfect day and ends with an unexpected dive into the deep end. Have you ever woken up to the sound of a tree crashing down? It's not exactly the most pleasant alarm clock, is it? The sheer force and noise can be absolutely terrifying, especially when you're in the comfort of your own home thinking you're safe and sound. No? Well, consider yourself lucky. Most of us go through life without ever experiencing such a dramatic wake-up call. It's one of those things you hear about but never think will happen to you. But for some unfortunate souls, this nightmare becomes a reality. Our next contestant got a rude awakening when nature decided to rearrange their living room. Imagine the shock and disbelief as you walk into what used to be a cozy space, only to find it transformed into a chaotic mess of branches and debris. Imagine being snuggled up in bed, dreaming of puppies and rainbows, only to be jolted awake by the sound of splintering wood and the feeling of, well, tree. It's like something out of a surreal nightmare where the boundaries between indoors and outdoors suddenly blur. Talk about a rough start to the day. The stress and frustration of dealing with such unexpected damage can be overwhelming, not to mention the immediate thoughts of safety and the daunting task of cleaning up the mess. I bet they're wishing they had invested in that tree falling on my house insurance policy now. It's one of those things you never think you'll need until it's too late. The importance of being prepared for the unexpected can't be overstated. Whether it's a freak storm or just bad luck, having the right insurance can make all the difference in how quickly you can recover and rebuild. We've all been there. You're rushing to work, already running late, and bam! You spill your coffee all over yourself. But our next contestant, they took it to a whole new level. We're talking important documents, brand new white shirt, maybe even the cat got a latte. It's a symphony of stains and a chorus of no, let's just hope they had a backup copy of that presentation, and maybe a change of clothes, and a fire extinguisher for the cat. Chapter 4. The Birds and the Not-So-Bees. You know what they say. Good luck comes to those who wait. But I don't think they were talking about bird poop. Our next contestant learned the hard way that sometimes the early bird gets the, well, you know, it's a classic comedy routine, but trust me, it's not so funny when it happens to you. Especially if you're wearing your favorite outfit. On the bright side, at least it wasn't a bat. Chapter 5. Wallet, where art thou, wallet? Losing your wallet is basically a rite of passage, right? It's right up there with forgetting your locker combination and accidentally calling your teacher mom. But our next contestant? They took it to a whole new level. We're talking lost in a crowded place, no ID, no credit cards, just the faint hope that a kind stranger will return it. Let's hope they had a backup plan, and maybe a really good friend who owes them a favor. Chapter 6. Highway to the Danger Zone. There's nothing quite like the feeling of the open road, the wind in your hair, the sun on your face, and then the dreaded thump 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 of a flat tire. Our next contestant got a crash course in roadside assistance, and it probably wasn't pretty. Let's hope they had a spare tire, a jack, and the upper body strength of a superhero, and maybe a really good audiobook to pass the time. Chapter 7. It's the moment we all dread. The phone takes a nosedive straight into the toilet. Our next contestant lived through this nightmare, and we can only imagine the horror. Did they try to fish it out with a coat hanger? Did they offer it a rice burial? Or did they just accept their fate and buy a new phone? Let's hope they had insurance, and maybe a waterproof case. There's nothing quite like the feeling of getting locked out of your house. It's like being trapped in a sitcom, except it's not funny at all. Our next contestant knows this pain all too well. Let's hope they had a spare key, a friendly neighbor, or a really good locksmith on speed dial, and maybe a good book to read while they wait. You know that feeling when you spend hours slaving over a hot stove, only to have your culinary masterpiece turn into a charred disaster? Our next contestant knows that feeling all too well. Let's hope they had takeout menus handy, and maybe a fire extinguisher, and a good sense of humor. It's the stuff of nightmares. Your laptop crashes right before a major deadline. Our final contestant knows this pain all too well. Let's hope they had a backup, a really good excuse, or a time machine, and maybe a stiff drink. So there you have it, folks. 10 tales of woe and misfortune that will make you grateful for your own relatively normal day. Remember, it could always be worse. You could be swimming with your car, dodging falling trees, or fishing your phone out of the toilet. So next time you're having a bad day, just remember, it could always be worse. Stay positive and keep smiling, and maybe invest in some good insurance.